What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another exciting personal finance video where I'm talking gold, silver, stocks, all that good stuff. If you guys are into that, please do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to my channel, check out my website, My Road to Wealth and Freedom. It's down in the link below in the description. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, so please do your own research. Consult with a financial advisor before making any investment decision like buying gold and silver, real estate, stocks, any of the stuff I discuss on this channel. This channel is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Okay, guys. Okay, so it's been a few weeks since I put out a video. I've been just really super busy. It's just been a crazy time. I'm trying to order some gifts for the kiddos for Christmas and all this stuff. There's of course all these supply chain issues, and they're saying we're gonna get high inflation. Prices are rising for everything. They're saying buy your Christmas gifts early this year, just to make sure that you have some. Typically, I do Christmas shopping. The wife and I, we do our Christmas shopping early anyway every year. It's just kind of that little peace of mind, just in case anything happens. One year we had Toys R Us closed down and stuff like that, so it kind of pays to get it done early. And also, I feel like then you don't have that big stress of, oh man, I overspent at Christmas, and it carries into the new year, and you're kind of, you start the new year kind of behind the curve. Maybe you're carrying a lot of debt from the holidays into the new year. I don't like to do that. I want to start fresh in the new year. I like to be well ahead of the game, as always. I'm sure if you guys are watching this, you guys are probably feeling the same way. You're probably in the same boat. Kind of want to get ahead of things, which is why we buy gold and silver in these trying times. Speaking of gold and silver, they're both seem to be breaking out. I think gold's about 1860. Silver was above $25 the last I checked. Of course, last week the big news was the CPI print came in at 6.2%, which is I don't know, the worst inflation in like 30 years, and it's getting worse. Month over month increase was, I think, 0.9%. That's almost a 1% increase month over month. So what these prints are showing is what a lot of the inflation people were saying is going to happen. A lot of the gold, the hard money people, they've been going on about that too, is that the inflation is not calming down. In fact, it's kind of accelerating to a small degree so far. These are big numbers. Year over year numbers look really crazy, and I'm not quite sure we're really coming off that low of a base now. October 2020 was after the summer. Things had started to improve a little bit. The markets were still going through a period of turmoil. Oil was still kind of bottoming out, and then it kind of starts shooting up in November. So it'll be interesting to see these year over year comparisons kind of after we got the good news. That Pfizer Monday when they came out with the vaccine and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see, November, what the November CPI print's going to look like compared to year over year in December and so on. But if you look at the month over month numbers, those are starting to increase, and it's kind of freaking people out, freaking me out, because that is the problem we're seeing. People starting to hoard food again. There's all sorts of, the Chinese government told its citizens to start stockpiling food, and so there's some very real problems on the horizon. Fertilizer prices have gone through the roof. That's going to impact agriculture and all the food that we rely and depend on. Of course, supply chains are still kind of broken. Hopefully those get sorted out. But anyways, all this is kind of this backdrop, and the economy still is, in Canada, they say the economy is going strong. In the United States, it's recovering. It's showing a lot of strength. I mean, I have my doubts about all of these things. As I've said before, I don't think you can really mask the problems that happened last year with, businesses are still going at a business. There was this A really cool bar not too far from my place, bang, went out of business. They had just opened that location, I think the year before 2020, there, 2019. And then, of course, they were shut down. Hey, I think it's become like a party store. Those places where you can go buy balloons and stuff like that. Like, this was like a nice, decent, really cool bar. I'm sure they put a lot of money into decorating the interior. That can't all be cheap. And what is it now? It's some party store basically. The ones that kind of they fold. They open up shop and then they fold it. Like, there's nothing there that's going to be, there's no staying power to these kind of stores. They're just kind of like, in between leases or whatever. They'll pick up a couple months and try to sell Halloween decorations or Christmas there. Anyway, so it's just, again, it's not the kind of tenant that you want if you're a landlord. If you're a commercial landlord, it's just kind of filling in the gap, waiting for things to turn around. And I feel like a lot of the economy is like that. We're seeing a lot of um, I saw some of my utility stocks. They kind of posted earnings year over year. Their earnings declined. Real estate investment trusts. They're in the same kind of boat. They're year over year declining, and so I just don't see this real great strength to the economy. I think there's a huge deflationary potential, and it may come due to inflation. Who knows? Like, my whole take on the inflation deflation debate is that I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know. I don't think really anybody is. Um, it's always impossible to tell the future. My thought is that going into the great unknown, you probably don't want to have a whole lot of debt. So I attacked my mortgage. I sold off stocks. I've left money on the table. Maybe I'd be up another 20% had I held on, or maybe I would have been down 50 or 80%. Who knows? This is the way these things go. I'm not an all or nothing guy, so I don't want to. I'm not really trading all this stuff and doing. I'm just kind of doing what's right for me. Um, I feel last year when that initial lockdown was imposed, it really kind of, Warren Buffett has this analogy. Who's swimming naked when the tide goes out and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people were swimming naked, to use that analogy, last year. They got caught. They didn't have any money, any savings, anything to make it a week, 2 weeks, even to the end of the month. The numbers just became like a societal collapse had governments not quickly rushed in, sending money to everybody, doing everything they can to support businesses and people. And I think that's very telling. And fast forward to today, do I think their position has materially changed? No, I do not. Um, do I think that they have the sense that, hey, the government bailed us out, so it's okay to kind of live on the edge? Let's go buy Bitcoin and invest in meme stocks and do all this stuff. I certainly do. I think that's exactly what's going on. People should have woken up and deleveraged their lives. Their personal finance is all about kind of personal responsibility. That's kind of my take on it. I should really do a video or a post or something like that. Been thinking a lot about this lately. It's just been kind of bouncing around in my head. I'm not really sure how I would approach writing something like that, but just quickly, I feel like I'm not looking for a handout from the government. I don't expect them to help me in retirement at all. In fact, I think they're doing more and more and more to screw us and wreck our financial futures than anything else. I'm taking matters, and I have from day one. As soon as I hit the workforce, if you're new in the workforce, I highly recommend doing this. Start saving some money, live below your means, try to get ahead, try to build a cushion, invest for retirement. And down the road, you'll get married, you'll have kids. Start throwing money into an education fund. I just never want to be in a situation where I don't have options, and that's really what money, personal finance, financial security and all that. That's really what it gives you. It gives you options. I don't consider myself super rich or anything like that. Like I don't have, I don't find money's like easy come, easy go. I've always worked hard. I've invested, you know, I've done all these things. My wife as well. We work really hard, and just kind of playing it safe. Paying off your house, getting out of debt, and staying there. It's not easy. A lot of people don't do it. A lot of people have this kind of cavalier attitude, that, oh, hey, it's okay to have big mortgages. Housing prices have never been this high. And the scary thing is it's truly global. So we know that the next time any problems start to arise, um, it's gonna be a brutal unwinding of all of this debt in the system. And I'm not really sure the government's. I think that's the thing too. A lot of people feel like, oh, hey, the Fed has got my back, the government's got my back. It'll be okay. I don't. I just feel like there's really this, I guess, really, really strong. I don't want to say unbreakable because it's not unbreakable, but there's really strong faith in the powers that be, the government, the central bankers, and stuff. And I just think, history is full of examples of where they've kind of lost control. And I think they're doing everything they can to talk a good game. They're trying to inspire confidence. Some people are like, oh, they're lying, inflation, they don't have a handle on it. I guess, are they shooting straight with people? Or are they telling it like it is, the brutal, harsh truth? Hell no, I don't for a second believe that. But if they did tell the truth, I do not think asset prices would be where they are today. Um, it's a confidence game, people. That's my thoughts. It's all confidence, and they need to put the best spin on these inflation numbers, deflationary pressure, inflation, all this stuff. That's what they do. I do think we're getting into the upper reaches of the spin to just outright, I guess, not being truthful, lying. They're kind of approaching this gray area where, you know, there's only so much spin you can put on it. And, first it was the transitory thing, which at first glance it seemed legit, right? I can sort of see that. It's like, hey, we had everything was shut down. We pumped all this money into the system. People had lots of money. They went out and they spent that money. Demand never really dropped. Maybe it dropped between March and April last year, and then it kind of quickly bounced back. It recovered. Well, what didn't recover was all the supply chains, all the manufacturing and stuff like that. That took a little bit of time to kind of start up, and you know, people said this too. When you close an economy, when you shut down an economy, it's not like you flip a switch and everything just starts back up. Tickety boo, it's all good to go. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be lots of problems, and I think we're seeing all this stuff now. The demand piece um, is still fairly strong, I presume. I don't know. Um, but the supply is what we don't have right now. So, over time, these things will resolve themselves. I'm confident that. But at the same time, we have these record crazy high asset prices. And I think, people are really, really overexposed. It's just this kind of gambling mentality. I really feel like people just kind of lost it. They're just like, oh, what the hell? I'll like massively overpay. I'll get into bidding wars for homes, at the top of the market, because who cares? Nobody really cares. I just feel like there's going to be this watershed moment when all of this debt that people are carrying, that governments, corporations, not, it's going to matter sooner or later. It will matter, and I just want to be prepared. I want to be in the best possible position, and as I'm sure you guys do. So I'm just kind of playing it safe. That means, looking at my own personal balance sheet. Get rid of all your debt. You don't. I feel like, I'm a Gen X guy. My grandparents were that generation of the Depression, World War II, and I really feel like the lessons of that period, those were hard. It was like a hard 20 years basically, from 1930 to 1950, let's say, or 28 to 48, however you want to measure it. You had a really, really tough time, and for most people 20 years is the bulk of their working lives. And I feel like that experience, coming out of the Depression and war, they understood, the value of things like food. You don't waste food. So many people, I was reading an article said in Canada, it's estimated approximately 40% of all food consumed in this country ends up as waste in landfills. 40%. And that's due to spoilage, just leftovers. Interestingly enough, I saw the Chinese government recently, there's problems with the food supply over there and globally, I guess. And they, I guess, at a restaurant in China, if you don't finish all the food on your plate, you can be actually fined. I just thought that was so funny. But hey, you know what? There are people starving in this world. You know, when the food wasted, like, it takes energy, it takes fertilizer, it takes oil, gas, trucks to bring this food. Like, there's a whole sort of supply chain behind all this stuff. And anyway, so my thought is, like, you don't really want to waste it here in the West. We have a really kind of cush life, right? We have by global standards, we are like incredibly wealthy. And I think, we just don't really realize how the rest of the world truly struggles with poverty, with food, security, water, just things that we take for granted here in everyday life. The rest of the world, it's hard to get water if you're in some village in India or Africa somewhere. Like, what I mean? You're like walking down to the river with this, so all that time, all that energy expended. Um, what do? Do you take a 5 hour shower with that? No. It's people conserve. It's kind of precious. They recognize, food and water are not things to be wasted. Energy is not things just to be wasted willy-nilly. But these are things that I think we're going to start learning here in the West, especially as prices increases. Now, I don't think we're gonna, you know, um, we're always going to be able to buy food. My thoughts. I'm not that on the fringe of thinking that, but, are we going to pay more money for it? I certainly think, yeah, it's going to cost more. The cost of living is going to increase for the necessities, the food. And it's not the fancy food. It's not the T-bone steaks and stuff like that. It's going to be just for everything across the board. Food's going to be more expensive. Um, I don't think, we're going to end up like a third world country, but, we can afford to pay more. It's not nice. No one likes it. So I don't really see that, but that's going to impact things, consumer spending and all sorts of stuff. And already we're seeing that in the numbers, rent increases, home price increases. The more money you got going for the bare necessities, the less money you have to spend into the wider economy. That's, fairly straightforward. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, so gold and silver. It's too bad. I wanted to pick up another ounce. I've been just kind of watching the bills kind of roll in with all this Christmas shopping and stuff. So I've been kind of cautious. But gold's up probably about $150, something like that. That's in Canadian dollars. From where I was watching it 2 weeks ago, I was half considering picking up another ounce. I think I might just try to wait for a pullback, or maybe I just might close my eyes and pay the extra $100 or 150, whatever it is, just to get another ounce. Yeah, so that's sort of my thoughts. I don't really have anything else other than that. Oh, I put out a net worth report as I do at the first of the month. It was a couple weeks back. We were up, I think, about 22K in October, which is pretty decent. I just find I'm not like, these net worth, our net worth is continuously growing, but it's growing for reasons just kind of money saved, debt paid down on our like mortgage and stuff like that. It's not like huge investment gains. Um, because I guess I just feel like we're in the mother of all bubbles, and I think the reckoning is probably somewhere over the horizon, and I don't want to be caught completely exposed. I want to have a good, some good dry powder. I like to have some cash on hand and kind of waiting for really good opportunities. I think when this thing rolls over, there is going to be panic on a level that we haven't seen. There's so many new investors in the market who have only seen it go up. And they have this idea that, government will keep sending us money. Everything's going to be all good. So yeah, I'm looking to capitalize on that, take advantage of that, take advantage of the fear, which is what I did in March 2020, and it worked out really, really well. It's what I did in 08, 09. Again, it worked out well. You want to buy at maximum fear and I guess sell at maximum optimism. I do feel I sold out a little too early. I should have held on. But that's my own issue. That's my own kind of mistakes. We got to live and learn. But I definitely want to be hedging. I want to be covering all the downside risk as possible. So that's why I like to have some, sound money behind this, no debt, cash in the bank, um, some a little bit of cash on hand. It's all this stuff. You want to be set up in the best possible position to take advantage of any sort of crazy volatility to come. That's my video for today, guys. Sorry it's been a few weeks. Hope you enjoyed this. Please do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can comment below and check out my website, My Road to Wealth and Freedom. The link will be down there in the description. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend.